Oh, last month, remember? Last month it was so funny. We had the music playing at one point. I don't even know how the music. I don't even know where it came from. We didn't know how to turn it off when the next speaker came on. So like half our talk, you can hear some music coming from somewhere. Remember last month? I don't know. Okay, I think we're good. We're on.
Welcome, welcome. You are at Activate Your Power Now. Yes. You are here, you are in the right place at the perfectly and right time, founded by our own Izzy and James. So we're glad to be with you this lovely Wednesday evening. Tonight we are talking all about the power of power. Power in unity is often called dominion. It is that sovereign authority that here in unity, where we say it is located in the back of the throat, because power comes when we can speak out and when we can speak our truths. And that's what Activate Your Power Now is all about. It's what our truth talks. So we are going to start tonight off with Sherry, and she's going to start us off in our first truth talk on power. So come on up.
Yes.
I have a loud voice. I am one of 6. I can play now. Oh wait, I've learned.
Make sure it's on.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
There we
Yes,
go.
now you can. Power. Now I have the power. You know, I was really thinking when I was going to give a presentation tonight, I was like, what should I talk about? So one day I woke up and I was praying, and it came to me. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Power means being authentic, knowing your worth, learning to speak up, and empower others. That's what power means to me. So I decided to talk about that. You know, everyone is on that journey of personal power in their life. I'm talking when you were itty bitty, remember when you were little? Some of us were encouraged to go on that journey. And others came from homes or situations where our personal power was just squashed. Or at times, we were told we were too much. And we needed to behave or do as we were told. So I grew up where others made decisions for me. And I didn't get to speak up. I know anybody that meets me is surprised, but no, I did not. I was told I needed to be quiet and only speak when spoken to. There was one way to do something. That was our way. That's how we need to do it. So I listened, I obeyed, and I grew up putting everyone else's needs first and doing what I could for others. I felt I had to earn love, you know? Love was not understood or unconditional. I would be loved if I did what I was told and I pleased others along the way. So that's what I tried to do. And I got married when I was 18, and I didn't know how to speak up or even make a decision. And you know my ex-husband used that against me, right? He used that for his own power because I didn't know my own personal power. When I was 20 and going through a divorce, I left my abusive ex-husband, and I didn't know how to make decisions. I had a 1-year-old. I had a 1-year-old child. I was 20 years old and had an 18-month-old trying to go to school, figure out whatever, but I didn't know how to make decisions because everybody made them for me. And I was terrified of decisions. I didn't even know if I'd make the right ones. And I didn't know how to speak up for myself. And I lacked so much confidence and so much self-esteem. I love people, and I wanted everybody to like me. Do you know, till I was 40, I thought I could get everybody to like me? You can't get everybody to like you. And did you know that everybody does not like Sherry Berger? And you know what? That's okay. I'm good with that now, but I didn't know what I don't know. So I love people, and I want everyone to like me, and I wanted to do what was right, and I wanted to please others. But I realized one day that I just was not being my true, authentic self. And that was pretty sad when I realized that. I didn't know how to speak up for myself or others, or just didn't know. I worked hard to be what I thought my parents wanted me to be. I worked hard to be what my spouse wanted me to be. I worked hard to be what my friends wanted me to be. Not that doing for others is wrong. And no, I was not a bad child. For a matter of fact, I lived by the rules because that meant people would love you. So, and it's not wrong to do that, but it's wrong when you do it at the expense of not even knowing yourself. That's awful. I thought my worth was based on what others thought of me or what I could do for other people. I didn't even know who I was or who I was even supposed to be. And I feared making wrong decisions. And I waited for others to tell me how or who to be. And I felt unloved when I did not meet those expectations. And you know, when you're in that situation, you're never going to meet those expectations, no matter how hard you try. Because I tried. My job was to take care of other people. And I told you guys I'm one of 6. And I made other people happy. See, I even became a mom at 8. Worrying about my younger brother. He was a baby at the time. I wanted better for him. He's the youngest. I'm the oldest girl. I always tease and tell people I have brothers 5 and 8 years older than me. I'm sorry, brothers are useless other than scaring boyfriends away. They always make the oldest daughter do everything. So I have a little oldest, I have a little middle child in me because I'm the oldest of the 4 younger kids. And we're all stair-stepped 2 apart, just to give a little bit of background of my family. See, like I said, I wanted more for him. And that's a whole nother story in itself. But I am a nurturer. And I love supporting and helping people. Anybody that knows me knows that. And that's part of who I am. But that's not all of who I am. I'm a caregiver and a nurturer by default. I love that about myself. But not at the expense of not knowing who I am. And being a nurturer and a caregiver means that people will take advantage of you. Believe me, I know. And if you lack or you don't know boundaries, and setting boundaries and walking out of a situation takes time. And I'm still working on growing more in my personal power. Is this how we're supposed to do power? But when you grow up, where boundaries are not a priority, you really don't even understand boundaries for others or yourself. When you grow up and you feel you have to earn love and not understand true unconditional love, it makes it hard. And I remember when I first started setting boundaries and stopped letting people treat me like a doormat and stopped being a people pleaser. You know, a major event happened in my life. And when major events happen in your life, you have to change. I lost my brother in the Pentagon, 9/11. Remember September 11th? I lost my brother. My brother was, I told you I have 5 siblings. I really have 2. He's 5 years older than me. And I was pregnant and I had a baby in the middle of it all. And shortly after that, after we buried him, because he was never identified and I got dragged out 6 months and I was pregnant through it all, and my daughter was took 6 days early, and all of that, we got ripped off in a house that had statue botrytis mold. That's that black mold. My baby was 10 weeks old. She turned blue twice. By the way, Robin Beth, mini me, number 4 child. She's our bonus child. Nobody wants to be in an accident. But then she became high-risk pregnancy, and we almost lost her twice through that statue botrytis mold. And then after that, her and I spent 2 years at Children's Mercy. Again, that's a whole nother story. But during all this, I was married. I had 4 kids. They were 13, they were 3, they were 2, and I had a newborn. And the mom and wife and me were worried about caring for everyone else. My brother had died, and he left his wife, who was from Italy, without citizenship, and 2 young little babies. And my parents and siblings, they were struggling. And I had many people to worry about and support and care for. But remember, I grew up without boundaries. So boundaries wasn't a thing. We lost the house and had nowhere to live. I was babysitting my sister's kids so that they could go to counseling because they were struggling. I was supporting my mom and going through pictures of my brother and helping my mom because can you imagine? She was struggling. And I was worried about my kids and keeping food on the table, and we were living in a hotel. We had nowhere to live. We were still making house payments, still paying for everything, and I was dealing with attorneys in the bad house, and I was helping my sister-in-law. She became an instant single parent with 2 little babies, no citizenship, no driver's license, and whatever else she had to deal with. I was helping her. Yes, she was in Washington, D.C. I was here. I was translating. She couldn't even speak that great of English. And I was worried about all the stress that my poor husband had on him. And so I was supporting him. And I had so much on me that I couldn't even handle it anymore. I didn't even need anyone to rescue me. I just needed people to stop throwing water on me. I was drowning. Please stop. I know I can figure it out, as I always did. That day, a counselor came to my door. Because of 9/11 and asked if I needed support. And I said, no, I get this. But guess what? I did not. It was a lot. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. And I had not even given myself time to grieve. You know, I was in survival mode, and I was doing everything I could for everyone else. I didn't even know how I felt. I'd been in this crazy cycle before, but I had too much this time. You know, all of us have a breaking point. And again, I didn't even know anything else about crazy cycle, right? So how would I know? Do you know that January 2002, the first, I lost my best friend. And my brother died on 9/11 the same year. 2 of my biggest supporters. When did I worry about myself and my feelings and what I needed? Now let me be honest, I am a nurturer. And I love anybody that knows me, knows I love being a mom and a wife and supporting and helping. That's my most comfortable spot. That's just who I am. But after sitting down and talking to her for a while, I decided to say yes. I think I need counseling, and I accept the support, and I help for myself and my family. And my business even got shut down in the middle of all this, obviously. See, earlier though, I decided to accept this because earlier that week, do you remember, I have a teenager, and he's 13. He's a pastor now, but my oldest. And I looked at him and I said, look, I am 2 days from having a nervous breakdown when we had a confrontation. If anybody's had teenagers, they can be a little much. And he said, Mom, that's what you keep saying. So I got in his face and I said, look here, son, wait till you see me 1 day from having a nervous breakdown. You know, that wasn't one of my proudest mom moments. So I knew I wasn't showing up to even be the mom I wanted to be. I wasn't showing up being who I am. So I decided that I needed help. And you know, that's power. To realize that you're not okay is okay. But to stay there is not okay. That's power. So asking for help and getting help is hard, but you got to realize that it's power. And it is power to know when you can't do it all. It is power to ask. And as I learned and I started using my boundaries that I was learning, it was really uncomfortable. Because I'm trying to figure this out. I remember one morning waking up and looking at the 4 walls one day and thinking, wow, what do I do now? I don't know what to do. I was trying to figure out what to do. I didn't have anybody telling me to jump here or do this or be this or do that. But I knew I had responsibilities. I still had my kids. I still had to figure out the bills. I still had all this. But you know what? I need to take care of it. But overall, I got to decide for myself. Power to me means learning to speak up, learning to make choices and be authentic, and taking responsibility for your own self-power and using it to help others. And being the best version of yourself means putting your air mask on first. Remember on the airplane? Wait a minute, I just traveled, then I got home, then I traveled again. And every time they make you put an air mask on first. And taking ownership of your own life and setting boundaries with love. Now, when you're in that situation, you can help others. You can do more. And you don't have to lose yourself in the process. Self-power is about learning who you are, knowing your boundaries, and supporting others. It's an ongoing process as we all journey and learn our own self-power. Do you know that women are often told to be quiet and they're too much? Can you believe somebody has ever told me I'm too much? People have called me charismatic. What? I'm too much? But women are often told that they're too much and need to sit down. But I think instead, we need to encourage each other, be the best us, and be successful, and speak up, and be a voice for ourselves and others, becoming our true, authentic self, and the person that God made us to be. I love this saying. I want to build a community where women of all races can communicate and continue supporting and caring for each other. I want to give women a space to feel their own strength and tell their own story. Now that is power. Beyonce said that. But I love it, right? Do you know I have worked 33 years to be where I am today? And I jokingly and not jokingly tell you I'm everything my father doesn't want me to be, right? But the only person you can be is but be you. And so, trying to be what others think you should be, and by the way, I never could be what they wanted me to be, right? But you know what? I'm a really good version of Sherry Berger. Isabella, it's Sherry Berger. And there's two great resources I want to show you guys tonight. One is, I thought it was so funny, I had a friend that said they'd never heard of this. Henry Cloud, Boundaries. And there's a really awesome book, this awesome lady named Sherry Berger, what do you call me? I don't even know. Just don't call me late to dinner, I joked. But I have Here to There Revealed, and tonight I'm actually giving away free copies, but I'm asking people just to pay shipping, and I have the little URL code that you can just sign up. But this is about putting your life in your business, right, in order and in control and making your own decisions. But that's what power is to me. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well done, Sherry. I really heard what you were talking about, how I would describe it as spiritual authority, stepping into your power and owning all that you are and saying, yep, this is me, here I am, you know? And then that's where you take your Superman pose and you really take that spiritual authority and you pull it forward and push it forward to do what you are here by your divine inheritance. That was awesome. Thank you for your share. As I was talking about a little bit ago when I was talking about the power of power, and it's in that root chakra. You know, it starts up here on top. Up here is like the crown chakra. And when a lot of people, when they hear the crown chakra, you know, that's the color purple. You know, that's the color of enlightenment, the power, the color of spirit, the power of God, right? And for many cultures throughout history, the color purple is a symbol of royalty, right? Well, when we own our divine inheritance, we truly are kings and queens, right? So as it falls down and it moves through our body and it moves back into our throat and into that root of our tongue, we step into the power of power because we're able to speak out. In unity, we also represent the power of power by the disciple Peter. And many of us know that Peter was a disciple that took the message and he took it probably the farthest of most of the disciples. So it's about learning language and how to communicate language out to others. And whatever it is that is your desire as you step into your power to do your good works. So next, I'm going to invite Isaac on up to share how he has stepped into power.
It's great to be here. Let's give it up for Sherry. She did an amazing job. The only thing I can't do with the poses that she was doing. I don't have really the ability to do those kind of poses. Then let's give it up for Elisa as well. For hosting Elisa. When I walked in through the door, she's the first person that I talked to. And you get to know that someone has class and also a big shot when you see them with that, cute microphone, a special microphone. And that's why I'm using this also. Thank you really for hosting this. Now, when you talk about power, it is a unique thing. And here's what I'm going to say, just off the bat. Power, the power of power is more power. The power of power is more power. Check it literally. When you take a battery, regular battery, and then you connect with another one, you get more power. One battery and another one, you get more power. You connect two people, Chuck and I, we hold hands together, because he's a strong dude, you know that. So most likely it's going to pull most of the weight, but we get more power. From a business perspective, we talk about 1 + 1 = 3. It's called synergy. When you talk about one mind, you connect with another mind, you get a third mind, which is called a mastermind. That's the power of power. Power plus power is more power. That's what we are talking about. Now, the theme is activating your power. And literally, you can only activate something that exists. If it doesn't exist, you cannot activate it. That means it's somewhere. Now, how many of you have ever felt powerless at any given point? Mm-hmm. It's an awful place to be at, okay? Now, how many people have ever felt powerful, especially when you are young? For some reason, when you're a really young boy, 7, 8, you feel like you can conquer anything, right? You do your first soccer match, just a game, and the first time you kick, you miss, and then your dad looks at you like, what are you doing? And then you try over and over again, and then you kick that ball, and it goes all the way. Better yet, if you score, you feel powerful, you feel indispensable. Now, for some reason, as we grow up, as we become adults, circumstances and situations and people and to an extent, well-meaning people get to suppress us. And circumstances, they make us feel like we don't have the power anymore. It gets suppressed. And that's why we need to activate that. You can only activate something that exists. When you are young, you don't know any kind of limits. You believe you can do anything, you can become anything. And you remember growing up, you were asked, what do you want to become? And you say, I want to become a doctor. And the teacher claps for you. What do you want to become? I want to become a police officer. I want to become a politician. I want to become this. And then you become an adult. And then you get all excited, you go home and say, I want to become a doctor. And your cousin goes like, we don't have doctors in this time, right? Who are you to become a doctor? You say you want to become an engineer like me, they go like, hey, your dad has never graduated from high school, your mom doesn't know how to read and write, but then that's a real thing. My mother didn't know how to read and write. So those are some of the things that I personally had to deal with. But today is about you. Earlier this morning, I usually wake up early, 4:30, 5 in the morning, and I was preparing for this, just trying to finalize some of these points. And I got thinking about you. Some of you have never met you before, but I thought about you. And I asked myself, what is it that I can share today within 5, 6, 8 minutes that's going to help you to go to the next level? Because when you think about it, we don't ask for power for the sake of it. We don't ask for power because we just want to be powerful. We want to regain our power, reactivate our power so we can do something, move to the next level, either become, have better relationships, grow in your career, grow your business, get to connect with the people that you care about, or make a difference in the world. If you're in the ministry, you want to be able to impact people and influence them. That's why we need that power, whether it's through your communication, whether it's through your leadership, whether it's through your business, you need that power. But again, when you don't activate that power and do it the right way, you're always going to be limited. And that's why sometimes when you try to make a move, you take one step, and then you feel like you're taking 2 steps back. It's because the power has not been activated yet. You are getting like a little sparks of the power, and then you feel like, okay, I'm good to go. Beginning of the year, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, and you're getting so excited, you take a step, and then someone comes to you and goes like, Chuck, okay, you haven't done this and that, or they just remind you of something that you either didn't do or you did, and you take 2 steps back. But when you activate the real power, you become unstoppable, and I mean that. Okay. Now, some of you that I've never met with before, probably they think my accent is from Kansas City, but it's not. It's a Kenyan accent. I'm from Kenya. That's where I was born. And some of you have been to Africa, or at least you read stories about people from Africa. It's a real thing that we don't have a lot of resources in Africa, specifically where I came from. It's a place where We didn't have resources, there's no food, we went without food for several days, we didn't have, clothes, we had to wear when kids wear their clothes and they get tired, we wear those. Some of you know my story about not having shoes. I didn't have shoes until I went to high school. That's why I like to buy fancy shoes, My wife sometimes complains about it. She's like, why do you spend $100 on a shoe? Because I'm trying to make up the years that I lost. We didn't have shoes. She can't argue with that, right? So when you grow up in that environment whereby people remind you every single day, you're not good enough, you're not tall enough. I'm still not tall enough, right? Which is okay. Your dad left you because he didn't love you. There's all kinds of stuff. They remind you, then they can get into your head. And then you become an adult and you hear about activating your power. And you activate that power and then you start making some movement and now it's feeling good over and over and over again. And before you know it, you're making very good progress. I'll tell you a quick story. And this is a personal relationship story. In 2012, I was about to get married. And there's someone that I dated for about 4 years. And we were planning on getting married. We were not planning the wedding yet. Then something happened and we broke up. Now, yes, long time ago, my dad left and all kinds of stuff. That hurt my feelings, but this one hurt way more. Because when you invest your time and your energy and your emotions and everything, and then someone betrays you, it takes you back. But it wasn't even the breakup. What I came to realize is me doubting myself. Doesn't mean I couldn't make a good decision. How come I didn't see this coming? Why did I make this mistake? Because you don't just invest your resources. Basically, I bought this person a new car. Okay, a new car, and I was driving an old one. Now, call me stupid, but when you're in love, you can do anything, right? But I questioned myself, and I found myself stepping back. And then so many other things, false accusations and all kinds of stuff. And some of my friends from church, just so you know, church people can be a little weird sometimes as well. They didn't believe me, all kinds of stuff. So I stepped back and I decided just to work long hours and not to interact with anyone. And I did that for 6 months. And then one day I woke up in the morning and I said, I don't feel okay. I think I was depressed. Now, I'm from Africa whereby we don't believe in therapy. Don't talk about your problems, keep them to yourself. Even when you're stressed out, don't. So I didn't talk to anyone, but I woke up one day, I looked at my bedroom. I had not made my bed for more than 4 months. I'll just wake up and just leave it. I like apples. Even that time I used to eat a lot of apples. And I realized that I didn't know this, that I would eat apples and instead of throwing the stalk in the trash, I'll just throw it under the bed. That's a sign of someone who was depressed, and I didn't know that. I went to my shower room. The thing was all black with that thing because I had not cleaned it. I went down to my living room. It wasn't that clean. The kitchen, we still had dishes. And I said, I can't leave it like this anymore. So what I did, I decided to clean, and then I went to Walmart and I did some shopping. I came back and I cooked and I took that food to church. And I said, I'm getting my power back. Never again will I ever allow anyone to control me. Okay, that was the beginning of me knowing how the power of taking your power back. So let's bring it to the present. And here's the question that I want you to ask yourself: what's holding you back? Is it self-doubt, lack of confidence, what someone said or they didn't say, feeling like your dad did not love you? First off, if they didn't love you, that's their problem. You can love yourself. There are so many other people that love you. Sometimes people don't love you because they don't love themselves, right? Someone at work, they're jealous, they say all kinds of stuff because they're not comfortable with who they are. So what's holding you back? That's question number one. Number two, how long has that been holding you back? How long? Because the length of time when you look back, is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 5 years, 10 years? Then you can look at how much have you lost, but also how much have you missed? Because you miss the ability to add value to people, to make a difference, to impact other people. And are you willing to continue being like that? Okay? And then the third question, which is my favorite, what action are you going to take your power back? You only get results from action. You can cry all you want, you can complain all you want, you can try to feel sorry for yourself, but until you take action, you don't get results. Yeah. I'm a very action-oriented person. You gotta get up, and I say, if you feel like crying, cry as you go. Just start walking and cry. First off, it's not gonna last long because you get to the door, like, oh my God, people are looking at me, so you stop crying, right? And it's okay if you're having a problem, seek professional help, get around friends, but don't just talk about your problems. Because guess what? People have their own problems. They might listen to you, to you about your problems. They might pray for you, but they have their own problems as well, and that's putting too much burden on them. So I want to give you a method on how to take your power back. And this is going to be a little bit strategic because I like strategy. So the method I'm going to give you is called 1, 2, 5. Say 1, 2, 5.
1, 2, 5.
Okay, do this with me. 1,
1,
2,
2,
5.
5.
Okay, one more time. 1,
1,
2,
2,
5.
5.
Okay, I'm going to move fast. I'm from Africa. We talk fast. And my reason is, when you're growing up in Africa, you're going to learn how to talk and run at the same time because there are so many animals over there, right? All right, so number one is only one person is responsible for your success or your failure. Only one person is responsible for taking back your power, and that's you. It's not your husband, it's not your spouse, it's not your brothers, it's not the community, it's not the church, it's not even the government, it's you. It's you, only one person. And when you realize that, then you take responsibility. Okay, number 2. So we said 1, 2, 5. Number 2 is there are 2 major factors that are going to help you go to the next level, take your power back. Number 1 is your ability and willingness to dream big. Now, this is not a motivational speech, but you gotta dream big. What kind of a person do you wanna become? Now, we talk about becoming the best you. How does that look like? So, Brenda is the biggest advocate of that, and the easiest right here. So, who do you wanna become? Just allow your imagination to go wild. Who do you envision becoming? Not who you are today, not who you think you'll become, but who do you envision becoming? Your ability to dream big is going to help you. That's factor number 1. Factor number 2 is your speed of execution. And execution is implementation. You say, I want to become a better communicator. Read a book. I want to become a better MC. Talk to Elisa. She will teach you. Okay? I want to run a business. Go register a business. Do all those things. Take action. So speed of execution. And what it does when you execute, you get to experiment with different things. You figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then number 2, it builds momentum. Momentum is exciting. Think about the last time you felt powerless and then you got a little bit of your power back. Even for a minute, you felt indispensable. And you go like, okay, I gotta remember what I did so I can do it one more time to feel good. And then you do it over and over and over again. Sometimes you have to trick yourself into taking the power back because the logical mind doesn't want you to take that power back. It wants to keep you safe. It reminds you, remember the last time you did this is what happened. And then those feelings come back. Remember the last time you tried to talk in front of people, they laughed at you. They said you are too short, you are too fat, you are too loud, whatever that is. Don't allow your brain to talk you out of the stuff that you want to do. So, number 1 is you are the only person who is responsible. 2 factors. Number 1 is your ability and willingness to dream big. And then number 2 is your speed of execution. Then the 5, that's the easy one. There are 5 steps to get your power back. Number 1, you need to plan. Plan very well. Have a plan. You can only execute when you have a plan. Number 2, you need to execute as fast as possible. And we use the word execute strongly and easily. Strongly, you have the intention, you're focused on that, you're just very intense, you really want it. And then easily use your own natural abilities that God has given you. Each one of us have natural abilities. I know mine, and I've worked on it for so long. Chuck probably knows, Brenda probably knows, my ability is to connect with people. I can walk into a room, it doesn't matter how many people are there, I connect with them. I use that a lot, okay? So make sure that you go strong and easy. That's step number 2. Number 3, you need to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, because you're going to fail. Of course, when you do something for the first time, you're not going to be that good, okay? So you need to execute and give yourself grace. Number 4, you need to review what you've done. This is from a business perspective. You gotta review what you've done. What did you do well? What worked? What did not work? Then you revise it and keep on going over and over again. Then number 5 is called rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Don't try to do new things every single time, because what you are setting yourself for failure. When you do something for the first time, you're not gonna be that good. And then you fix whatever that it is, and now you try something new. You are setting yourself for failure. So let me just say this. To get your power back, the ability is within you. The power of power is more power. And the easiest way to get your power back is to get some kind of results. It's very biblical. Now, I'm a man of faith, so you don't have to be a Christian, but I am, right? Faith, the Bible says faith is evidence of things not seen. Evidence, from a literal perspective, evidence has to be something that you've seen. But from a spiritual perspective, is something that you've never seen. That's faith. So whenever you succeed over and over and over again, you are creating more evidence for yourself. And when you look back, you might say, hey, they might have said I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too loud, I'm not good enough, but hey, I've been able to accomplish this. And then you say thank you to God, to the people that have helped you, and to yourself. And that's how you take your power back. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Isaac. Well done. I heard when you were talking, it reminds me of one of my own power statements. There is no person, place, situation, or thing that has any power over me. And that's what you were saying as you're talking about your life experiences up into this now moment as you really step into your power. Because when you're stepping into your power, there is nothing else. And when we think about there is nothing else, there is only what? For those of you that are spiritual, there is only spirit, there is only God, there is only this universal mind. For those of us that aren't practicing and spiritual authority, we can still practice an absolute dominion as a truth. Knowing that this is it. This is me. And I can step into that and be just me. And that is perfectly, imperfectly awesome, right? I think of, as you were talking, it reminded me of a story. And it is a Hindu legend. And it talks about there was a time when all of us that roamed the earth were gods. And as we all roamed the earth and were gods, we didn't know what to do with who we were and how we were going to show up. And in fact, the head honcho god, who was called Brahma, said, I'm not sure that they even know how to use this power that they have. And so he's looking around, and so he goes to the council of gods, and they're discussing, I don't know that these people, these humans, these human gods, understand what to do with their power. So what are we going to do with it? So the council of gods are thinking about, okay, so we got to do something with this power. Where are we going to put it? One says, I know, we'll bury it in the depths of the sea. And they're sitting there talking amongst themselves, and Brahma goes, no, they'll swim to the depths of the sea. They may not understand it, but they know they want it. So another person says, okay, we'll hide it up into the highest mountain. And Brahma looks around and he says, no, that's not going to work either, because what are they going to do? They're going to climb the highest mountain to find this, right? We don't necessarily know what it is, but we know it feels good, and we know we want it. And so they're sitting around the council of gods just looking at Brahma, and they're like, oh, what the heck are we supposed to do, right? Where are we going to put this that they won't figure it out? And so there's a little bit of silence. And then I imagine there's like that thinking cap goes on, it's like, I know. And Brahma speaks up and says, well, hide it inside of it. Where's the last place someone's going to look? That's about discovering the power that is within. It's us. So it's when we come in and step into our own 2 feet and recognize that that God idea is expressing in and through and as us. That is the power of power. So thank you for your share. It has come time this evening for our mindful moment. And our mindful moment, we are just going to move into a meditation. So as you are comfortable, willing, and able, I invite you to close your outer eyes. And as you rest into your seat, we just take a deep breath in and we exhale. And as we do this a few times, we set aside all that crap that came before, anything that is from as young as we can remember to the very now moment of this second. Know that there is no person, place, situation, or thing that has any power over me. In and out. But there is only this spiritual sovereignty, the power of power, that moves in, through, and as me, as this vessel and conduit of peace, of love, of experience. And release. And everything that I bring to the table right here and right now is good. It has its place and time. It is an experience of spirit that is meant to be lived out loud, to move into the affirmation of truth. And that is that there is only one power, one presence, all God, universal mind, spirit, that expresses in, through, and as me. And this is good. This is light that is expressing, light that is power, light that is faith. Light that emanates from this very being in this very space. It is light that emanates outward, connecting to the light that is right beside me, to the light that is in front of me and behind me and above me and below me. And as it outstretches, it connects. It connects beyond these four walls, and it moves and expands out into community, into a brilliance of wonder. It is in this wonder I hear a whisper. I hear a power calling. Peace, be still. And know I am God. Está aquí tus Espíritus Santos. Yo soy Dios. It is here where I rest. It is here where I fuel up, feeling the amazing wonder of spirit that surges through my being. It is here where I rest knowing I am beautiful, I am love, I am perfect, I am whole, I am enough. I am ready. And it is in that readiness I step forward. And I feel that surge that is beneath the ground in which I sit and stand in a collective power and a connected DNA. And as it moves up and through my being, flowing through my legs, up my torsos, out my arms, up my hands, and up to the very crown of my head, I express and know I am a powerful, demonstrating being, designed to do mighty and wonderful things. And while I may not know the exact out picture, I know it is good and wonderful, and for the sake of things. I breathe in and I release, saying thank you. Thank you and amen. I invite everyone to take about a 5-7 minute break, and we'll be back for a few more speakers. Thank you.
You stuck in. How are you?
getting ready to share into some more enlightening truth talks.
Let's do it.
Isaac mentioned a little bit ago, and not exactly how you said it, but you said something that sometimes we can be a little weird, right? So I'm going to share some of my weirdness here. How many of you have seen that movie called The Labyrinth with David Bowie?
Yes.
Okay, one of my favorites. And as those of you that don't know, it's a story about a young woman, and she's a teenager, and as Sherry mentioned earlier, teenagers, they can give us a run for our money, right? So she's a little spoiled, and she's saying she wants her new baby brother from a new marriage to like stop crying, stop taking over the world, because in her mind, his little life is taking over her world, right? And so she wishes upon the Goblin King to take him away, right? And so the Goblin King does that. But then she just like, wait a minute. I need to get him back, right? I don't think I really wanted this. So she ends up in a labyrinth. And the story of the labyrinth is, it's a maze, right? And so she's moving through the maze, and she goes through all these different scenarios in her journey. And when she gets to the end, she's talking to the Goblin King. And she's just telling him, I just want my baby brother back. And he looks at her, he's fallen in love with her, and he's telling her, you can have anything. He says, I love me. Be with me. And she's trying to remember the lines of her book, and I can't remember all the lines. And as she's sitting there, she's saying, no, I need to get him, I need to go home, is essentially what she's saying, right? And he's like, love me, be with me, obey me, let me take you forward. He said, let me rule you. She stops, and she looks up at him, and she says, you have no power over me. That's the defining moment. No one else has any power over us. So we've been hearing a lot of wonderful stories about ownership of power, and we're getting ready to hear two more powerful speakers talking about the power. But before we do, I want you to have an experience, being able to share with us as a group, because we're a community, right? We're Activate Your Power Now. So I'm going to hand the mic around, and I would like you to share a power statement. And you know what? If you don't have one off the tip of your tongue, step into saying, I am powerful. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. That's all it has to be. Stanley, you want to start? And actually say your name too.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and my power statement today is be the best that you can be, but be you, and be the best you.
I love that. Be you.
Hi there, this is Jay Ma, and my statement is our power is within our faith.
Beautiful.
Hi, I'm Isabel Black, and I like to say that I gained my power by learning accountability.
I'm James, and my power comes from my ability to accept and embrace myself fully.
Hello, my name is Sierra. My power comes from waking up and just being the best version of myself.
My name is David. I would have to say just staying true to myself.
Yes.
I'm Veronica, and I'm powerful.
I am James, and my being able to express myself without fear of what somebody else thinks.
Yes. I'm Bren, and my power is that I rule my kingdom.
Oh.
I'm Andrea. I am powerful because I am enough.
Here's my power statement. My power comes from within. It's always available to be tapped, and I'm using it to make a difference in the world.
Yes. And what's your name?
My name is Nitao.
No, you have to be.
Oh, Isaac.
Yeah. My name is Sherry Berger, for those of you that don't know. My power is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I have to always remember that God is my power.
Yes.
I'm Amy, and my power comes because I finally realized that I'm not too much.
And my power is that I spread love out to the world and receive it within me.
Yes.
I'm Taylor. I would say my power comes from my discipline and my ability to see the third eye.
Oh,
Nice.
I'm Bob, my power just comes from all the good things I've been blessed with.
Yes.
My name is Linda Wilson. I am blessed and highly favored. And power is clarity.
Oh, I think we need more of an applause. I mean, all of you just stepped into your power. That is what activate your power now is, stepping into it. So I invite Jamie to come on up and take us into number 2.
Can everyone hear me okay? Do I need a microphone?
that's what I was like.
Is this fine? Can you,
What
can you hear
about
me?
the live stream?
They may not be.
Well, okay. This is just for you at home. Things on, here we go.
It's okay.
It made me look like a dork. This is just for you at home. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So I'm Jane Mom, and I'm gonna get a little woo-woo with power today. Hope that's okay. We're in Unity Church, and so I feel like I have full permission to do that. Because Unity, this is like the safe space where we can talk about spiritual principles in a very grounded, practical way. Yeah, we can go woo-woo. My book is called Break Through Your Threshold, a manual for faith-based manifestation and co-creating with God. So that's where I'm gonna put power on today, is the co-creation with God. I just got back from India, and I'm gonna tell you that story here. Me and my fiance, we just moved from the Light Center in Baldwin City, and we moved to Topeka. People were like, well, why? Yeah. But Topeka is actually quite special. And it was cheap, the price was right. We got this beautiful Victorian home for a good price, even though our bills doubled from being at the Light Center. And our friends were getting married in India. And they were like, Jema, we want you to come. You know, we only have a special list of in the world to come. And I'm like, I'll be there. And I have no idea how, because our bills doubled, yeah? How are we gonna manage our overhead now and get to India within just a couple of months? So a part of what I teach in Break Through Your Threshold is, where are we giving power to when we co-create our reality? Because we're always giving power to something when we co-create our reality. So there's 3 places, very simply, that we go to. And we all do this. Even if we're consciously aware, we can still, backstep a bit. So one of the first places we go to is we co-create with our obstacles. So we give our power away to our obstacles. Those obstacles are the outside circumstances that we think need to align in our favor in order for us to create the reality that we want. Yeah. So if I have the right money, or if I have the right education, or if I have the right support from my boss, or the support from my partner, then I can do what I want to do, right? Then I can be happy. So I'm co-creating, I'm giving my power away to my what? Obstacles, yeah? Another way that we co-create is with our mind's intelligence, meaning we co-create by ourselves. We think we're all alone, right? I need to have it all figured out. I need to know the plan. I need to have enough information. I need to know how to execute the plan. And because I'm doing everything myself, then I'm going to create that life of happiness, that reality that I want. And here's the thing, a lot of people stop there, and they call that empowerment. But being by yourself, co-creating with your own limited intelligence, is not powerful or empowering. It's you being a control freak. Let me just say that for a minute. It's you wanting to be in control of how you can manipulate results into fruition. And so many people do that. They utilize their own power in order to go, and work harder. And yes, they do manifest the resources that they need to have what they need to have to get what they need to get, but then they get burnt out. They get tired, and then they don't want to create anymore because it's exhausting. So we give our power to ourselves, right? Like it's all me creating my destiny. You hear people like that, I do that, right? I did this. You can do that, but you weren't, yeah? So, all right, so we got the power in the obstacles, we got the power in our mind, our own limited awareness. And then the third way that we can co-create a reality is with God. But if you co-create with your reality with God, you have to surrender the need to know or control how your good is going to come to you. You have to. You have to give up the knowing and the controlling of how things will unfold for your highest goods and everyone else. Your only power when you co-create with God is your faith. That's it. That is your only power, is your faith. And we talk about faith, like we say like, oh, I'm a believer, I believe in God. But faith is not a belief system, it is a demonstration. It is a demonstration. It is a behavior. It is a way of being. It is a way of vibrating. We are either putting our focus in what we believe to be true, the faith, the God, that God has the kingdoms of heaven in store for me. And if I'm focused on that, and if I truly, truly believe that that's going to happen, my consciousness is not wavering from that. My focus doesn't go into the obstacles of, well, I don't know where the money's going to come from. Or I don't have my husband or wife's support or my boss's support. My consciousness doesn't waver, my focus doesn't waver into like, I need to figure out how things work. Because when you co-create with God, you have to understand that there is your role and God's role in that process. And your role is not knowing how things are going to work out. That's God's job. God's job is the how-to. The how-to. And in most places, like if you go to like a motivational speech or a seminar, most places they focus on how-to. They focus on, you need to know how to do this and how to do this. And I'm not saying that we don't need education and we don't need resources. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when you are co-creating with God, you cannot know how the universe works. You cannot know how the miracles work. Your mind is incapable of linearly understanding and creating how that good is going to come to you. That's what I'm trying to say here. Your job when you co-create with God is to focus on what you want. What is it that you want? What do you want? Not how you're going to get it. What do you want? Focus on that vision with absolutely no compromise. What do you want? Don't try to water it down to fit into your believable box. Because that's what most people try to do. You ask someone, what do you want? And they're like, I want this, but, and their mind checks in with their resources. And they're like, but, maybe I could do this. So their focus, their vibration literally goes from the heavens down to their mediocre earth. Focus on what you want with no compromise, okay? That's your job. Focus on what you want. Number 2 is have unwavering faith. It will manifest. Unwavering faith. Now here's the thing. It's like monks will spend lifetimes in the Himalayan mountains trying to get that down. Trying to just focus their mind. Be still and know that I am God. Holding that power of faith is not easy. The mind wants to go whoosh, 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 all over the place. It wants to figure it out itself. Focus on what you want. Keep your eye on the prize. Unwavering faith that will manifest. And then the third step is to take practical and inspired action. But most people want to run to number 3 because they want to be in control. But if your focus is focused on the obstacles, when you take action, what are you going to take action towards? What are you going to take action towards? Trying to make your obstacles go away. Yeah, that's what you're going to take action towards, right? Because you're trying to do the how-to. You're trying to do God's job. Yeah? So whenever you are truly co-creating with God, your job becomes easy. Shall I say simple? Simple, not easy. Focus, faith, action. Simple. It's not easy because we want to be in control. We want to know how things are going to work out. We get scared. So I'm going to India. I started off with my obstacles. I'm like, I have no idea where the money's going to come from. Truly, our village just doubled. My mind is already co-creating. I'm already giving my power away to obstacles, okay? We need to have more money. We need to have, more income like that. And then I saw this is where my power is going. I'm giving my power away to my obstacles to get to India. Therefore, I'm probably not going to India, yeah? And so I step it up a notch and I'm like, we need to do something. So I go into my mind, I'm like, how can we create more money? How can we work harder? How can we spend less money? I start getting really smart, right? Like really intelligent. And then my power was stuck in a hamster wheel in my limited linear thinking. And we got far. We were able to get the tickets there, but we didn't have the tickets back home. So we could get to India, we just couldn't get back home. And days were approaching. And we were behind on rent, okay? And we had massive bills that were coming up. We had tickets to India, no tickets home, no money to spend while we were there. That's how far me giving the power to myself got me, yeah? And the minute I gave the power back to God, I need prayer time, God. I'm lost here, right? What is my focus? What do I want, God? God, all I want to do is go to India. I want to see my friend get married. I want this to come easily. I want the tickets back home. I want to have opulent experiences while we're there. I want all of our bills paid on time and in integrity. That's what I want. So we ask God for too little, right? It's not like I want India, no bills. It's like, no, I want India and my bills paid. Yeah, I want both. I want all of it. And I started to have faith. And sometimes I've got to tell my mind, I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know how this is going to work out. All I know is that I'm going to India with my fiance. We're seeing this wedding. We're going to have the time of our life. Everything that we need will be there in an opulent way. And all of our bills while we're gone will be paid on time. That's all I know. And even more so. Yeah? And I held that space, and I held that space, and I held that space. Down to the last minute, I kept giving my power away to God. And believe me, my mind was scared. My mind wanted to go back into the obstacles. My mind wanted to take the control back or the power back. And I didn't do that because I had only gotten so far. I needed God if I wanted my miracle, if I wanted my magic. Yeah? And I held this space, and I held this space, and I held this space. And then all of a sudden, literally like 2 days before, day and a half, 2 days before, the floodgates just opened and the access was there. My sister happened to have like an extra credit card she wasn't using. She's like, here, put the returning flights on. I'm like, in the hotel? Is that okay? In the hotel, would that be? A friend popped in my mind, and I was like, we were gonna have a phone conversation later that day. I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I was like, hey, can I borrow a little buffer money and go to India? He was like, sure. Put $600 in my account, just like that. My dad, the very next day, it was his birthday. This was the day we were gonna leave, okay? The day before we were gonna leave. He turned 87 years old. He put $500 in my account as a gift. It's his birthday, he gives me money. I mean, only God can do that, you know? God is ridiculous. Like the miracles and how they unfold are absolutely mind-blowing. And we went to India, and we had the time of our lives, and it was wild and hectic, I'm not gonna lie. If I could sum up India in one word, I'd say overstimulating for me. Personally, overstimulating. It was intense, it was wild, it was adventurous. And we came back home, and we have this massive debt. Yeah. So, where's my power? Am I gonna keep on going back to the obstacles? Like, oh, this is debt. Nope. Am I gonna keep on creating with my mind? Because if I do, there's no way that our linear thinking, the linear way that me and my fiance currently make money right now, there's no way we'd ever get caught up this year. Just no way. We spent thousands of dollars in India on the credit card. I was like, shishing, thank you, Nikki. My sister, okay? Very, very grateful for that. And some people could say like, oh yeah, but this is like credit cards and debt. But here's the thing, God does not believe in debt, we do. Yeah, debt is a human construct of our imagination, not of God's mind, not of God's divine mind. So I got back and I started praying. I was like, all right, God, I'm giving my power to you. I have the power to co-create with you, God. And I was like, thank you so much for all of this loving support to get to India. And now I just need a blessing, you know, just a blessing to pay back all these wonderful people who stepped up and supported our trip so miraculously. And I'm going to give you my little secret sauce. I call it backdoor abundance. That's something I say. Front door abundance is like, I know where money's coming from, right? That's my job, that's my investments, that's my... Backdoor abundance is like this, whee, surprise. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, where did that floodgate come from? Backdoor abundance. Love me some backdoor abundance. So I said, God, I really love backdoor abundance. I'm just putting it out there. You know, like if it's in alignment, I'm open to receive backdoor abundance. My fiance plays a trading card game that he absolutely loves, and he played a game online, and he ended up taking, out of 500 players, 6th place, which put him in the tier of winning $10,000 of prizes, which are going on eBay. I'm just saying, we're about to get that money right back, right? What I'm trying to say here is like, only God can do that. Like my linear thinking, if I'm giving my power away to my obstacles and trying to, we need the money here, or if I'm trying to like make sure, that I have all my right planning and my right scrutinizing, it'll never happen. It just never happens. But if I'm giving my power away to God, and not even away to God, but if I'm giving my power to the one who gave the power to me, right? It's like, if all power came from God, if that's where we got our power, why are we giving it away to obstacles? Why are we giving it away to people? Why are we giving it away to ourselves, like our limited thinking? Like if God gave us power, why do we give it away to these other places when creating our reality? Give it back to the one that gave it to you. It's a co-creative relationship that is absolutely pure magic and pure power. Thank you.
That's awesome, thank you. You gave us such a good example of how the God idea can be put forth into expression when you hold that intention. When you're holding that intention into owning what is your spiritual power, authority, and dominion. And then you create. You co-create with all that is what you want to manifest into this world. Thank you. It makes me think that, things have a way of showing up when you least expect it. And you don't even know how it's going to happen, right? Those miracles that unfold, because we can hold these intentions and these ideas. And when we're stepping into our power, well, where do we get it? I'll never forget, 20 years ago, I went to this really bad breakup, and I was left, it was an abusive relationship, but I'm like, and of course, back then I was like, oh, I'm feeling sorry for myself, I just want somebody to love me, oh God, please, even knowing that God isn't outside of me, right? And I'm thinking, I just want somebody who's gonna love me forever, and I got this whole vision of what that's gonna look like, right? Well, 3 months after this breakup, I find out I'm 3.5 months pregnant. I have a most beautiful, amazing son who's 20 years old, and I have the man that's going to love me absolutely forever in the deepest way. So sometimes we just don't know how it's going to happen, but it happens and it unfolds in the most perfect, wondrous ways. And I think that is about what's owning your power, owning it and recognizing I don't need the spiritual 2x4 to hit me over the head, right? I'm just open to it. So as we are opening up to all the power that is within, I want to invite James up to the floor as he shares his life.
I'm gonna need everybody to stand up. Put your hands on their hip in a power pose. Take a deep breath. And when I say activate mind, I want you to say power now. Activate mind.
Power now.
Activate mind.
Power now.
Activate mind.
Power now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, this is activation at its core. You guys may be seated. When Izzy and I came together and decided to create this platform of Activate Your Power Now, we didn't know the ride that this adventure was going to take us on. And just a moment ago, we went around and everybody said their power statements of what power means to them. And for me, I said a little bit. I said power to me is the ability to embrace and accept yourself, knowing that you are enough, knowing that you are worthy of everything that you desire. And my dad came and he said, my ability to express myself in a creative manner. And to me, that's been one of my biggest obstacles in my life has been my ability to let people know exactly what's on my mind. Let people know who I am without fear of criticism, fear of judgment. And see, we give our power away to these obstacles, to these challenges, because we want to craft an image of perfection, because that keeps us safe in our shell. But power to me is our ability to be vulnerable, to speak from our heart, and be courageous, and activating the story of shadows within. Just being able to dive deep into our pain, into our fears, knowing that the darkness does not have power or dominion over our lights. Understanding where our power comes from, that we are always vested and grounded in that power. But it's our ability to perceive and know that as a truth in our lives. Because it's always there. We are power. There's no separation. That's a principle of unity. There's no separation. It's one power. We are always expressing it. It's a matter of how conscious of that expression are we. See, today I had a presentation and that didn't go too well. So now I'm kind of just flowing and allowing Spirit to talk through me. I have a poem that I would like to share. It is called From Shame to Shine. From shame to shine, I rise and I climb as I claim what's always been mine. The right to live as a piece and a reflection of the divine. I sit and I close my eyes, thinking back to the times in which I was mesmerized by the tides of crime leading to my unfortunate demise again and again. You see, I remember when the intention of the game was to whip and tame that little boy, cultivating deep shame to ground the joy of trying again and again to fill that void. Ashamed of my voice, ashamed of my skin, ashamed of what I am and who I'm not, ashamed of being ashamed. So I hide shame in a bottomless pit of blame. That's the only thing that will keep me sane. That's the only thing that helps me remain in my mental frame. Because I'm one hop, skip, and jump away from these mental chains, causing emotional strain. One slip and fall from these mental chains, causing physical pain. So I smile and hold my head high despite the rain. I struggle to find my peace, but yet here I stand in a puddle of water as my emotions drain. As I stand here today, I look back at my life and see clearly that shame was just the final boss of a cruel game, a boss that needed to be slain. From shame to shine, I rise. From shame to shine, I realize. From shame to shine, I break free from being hypnotized. So who's ready to break a spell that has fell upon you, encasing you in a cage's jail? See, I stepped out and I'm breaking my shell. And from there, I gained greater understanding, taking in information and knowing myself deeply with more of an intimate connection, knowing my motivations, knowing where I stand, and the power in perspective. Now I have this whiteboard here. Right a little bit. Everybody see? Mm-hmm. So I have a process that I am cultivating through Activate Your Power Now called the Power Path Process. And as I've mentioned in my poem, for a long time I was ashamed of my voice. There was times growing up, I had a speech impediment. So with that came deep shame and me not being, I would say, competent in basic human skills, talking. And how did not being reflected back to me every day, especially in school. So that created a deep belief that who I am was not who I should be. That was one of the first markers of me believing in that truth. even though that truth is just an illusion as I see now, but when I was a kid, that's the compass I was moving from. So with that, that's the center. What is your belief? How are you perceiving yourself? What stance are you moving from? Are you moving from the belief that I'm not enough? The belief that I'm not worthy? The belief that who I am is not who I should be? Because that pattern, that belief, it creates a pattern in your life. And now, for me, I use my power to cover and protect myself from being exposed, to protect myself from people seeing me how I saw myself. Because it was too scary to step into that knowing and embrace that belief that I held in my mind. So I'm starting with the center is power of perspective. How are you seeing yourself? What belief are you moving from in your life? And see that, and then from there, that creates I like to call being human, we move away from pain and towards pleasure. That's just the basic components of living. So coming from a belief in lack, a belief in scarcity, a belief that comes from not really understanding who you are, that leads to a pain response, and the pain response leads you into moving away from that truth. So that pain response is rejection. I was scared of being rejected, so I kept to myself. I kept in my mind. I didn't talk much. I didn't say much at all. And then that led to other patterns being created in my life. Now, because of that, it was like a snowball effect. Now being ashamed of just my skin, right? Trying to fit in, I'm dark skinned, but still being not black enough for the people around me. And that led to other things, other crises in my life where it just reminded me of that reality, of that truth. But see, the whole time, I'm trying to perfect that mask that I was putting on to protect myself. I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not. I'm trying to observe life and those identities of people around me and taking on those characteristics and saying that, okay, if I do this, like Sherry was talking about, trying to earn love, earn appreciation, earn validation, because I'm coming from the belief that I'm not enough. So if I do more, if I be a professional people pleaser, if I make that my full-time job, if I perfect who I am, even though it's not really who I see myself to be in the moment, that will lead to me feeling like I'm okay. That deep belief. And that's what's pushing me and grinding me. So the pain of rejection leads to purpose. And my purpose is just to fit in. My purpose is to be loved. My purpose is to be accepted. My purpose is to feel like I'm enough. Now, from that stance, that adds, or it provides opportunities in which I would like to call provisions. The provisions comes in opportunities for that purpose to be manifested in your life. Now, this is all pushing you it's all a cycle. It's all a cycle that ends in the pleasure. So as I'm able to observe identities, observe how to fit in, that's my purpose. I am provided with provisions that allow that purpose to be manifested. And it ends in the pleasure of controlling how people perceive me. Staying grounded and protected and having that control over how I'm being perceived. So it's all manipulation. So this is what has been talked about on stage, J. Maul, having control and manipulated. And this is a very powerful process right here. This is a process that a lot of people find themselves in. This is a process that I've been kind of becoming aware of and digging myself out of this cycle of the pain and pleasure cycle. But yet it's still, it's a very hard process. It's there and it's subtle. But what I've learned is that I am enough. What I've learned is that I am worthy. I went through a process, and now I like to coin it another name called I Dream, which starts with intention. And this is the process that got me out of the dominant mindset of not being enough, the dominant mindset of knowing that I am exactly who I need to be, being unapologetically me, without fear of being reprimanded, without fear of criticism, without fear of not being loved. And the first part is intention. You have to intend to understand yourself. You have to intend to want to be better. You have to intend to want to let go and release what's been stopping you. Like Isaac said, understanding your obstacles and understanding what's stopping you from being you. What's stopping you from being stagnant and achieving your goals and setting out to do what you came here to do. See, these are all, like Jay Maul said, obstacles that we put in our way to slow us down so we can be like, oh man, I can't do it. I can't make it. The intention to be who you came here to be, it leads to the dream of who you are. With D standing for disconnecting and discovering yourself. Discovering yourself as you are, discovering your motivations, discovering what's influencing you, and discovering your perceptions, your beliefs, your patterns, your habits, your characteristics that's holding you back, and allowing that to be without judgment, without fear. That leads to a release, a letting go, a reconciliation, a greater awareness of who you really are, a greater awareness of your truth, realizing that you are enough just as you are. See, being on this stage right now, this is the last thing, I thought I would have found myself doing. I always like to be just to myself, and just leave me alone. Just don't talk to me, and I just want to just get out the way, make my money, and just, live my life. But there was a time just recently where, God put it on my heart that it's time to put yourself out there. It's time to let people know who you are. Because there's power in being yourself. You give permission for other people to do the same. And you accepting yourself fully, there's a space around you that allows you to see other people with greater objectivity and allowing them to feel safe enough to say, oh, if he can do that, I can too. So that allows that little shift in themselves, a small degree over time, that allows them to see themselves more clearly from a higher vantage point, to dream a new dream in their lives, to pull themselves out of the cycle that they see themselves in. And maybe they don't even know they're in that cycle because there's no alternative around them. So you being you provides an alternative to what's been dominant in their life already. Because I'm telling you, living in this society, the dominant frequency is to fit in. Is to do what is like unwritten rules. that we don't talk about what is there. Even though it may not match up with who you are in that moment, it's still controlling you. And if you never question that, then it's deep. It's only when you start questioning it that you are able to really pull yourself out of it, bring awareness to what's been holding you back, bring awareness to those obstacles, because you can't bypass it. You want to bypass and say, oh, you know, I want to be this and do that. Well, yes, that may work for a bit. You may be able to manifest, you know, the car and the house and all that, but it requires so much work. It requires so much effort. And I decided I want to move with ease and grace. And that comes from just fully accepting myself as I am and knowing that there's no rush. There's no rush in this game called life. It's a journey. And the power comes from accepting that truth. And your ability to sit back and allow God to do what needs to be done, but you being clear on who you are and being clear on exactly what you want, and also knowing that what you want also wants you. Knowing that once you that what you want is already there for the taking, realizing that that truth is true, and then taking the next aligned action to make it happen. So the first, I'm not gonna write everything. So the first step is, I like to call it the pain pleasure cycle, the power of perspective, knowing what your current beliefs are, what's around them, what's the motivations and the influences. And that's a scary process, to be able to ask yourself and face yourself, to go within and do the self-inquiry, the observation of your thoughts, of your feelings, you know, the observation of your patterns, to be conscious of the unconscious. That takes time. It's a process. The next step is, I like to call it a bridge, which is I dream. So this is the in-between stage where people call I'm healing. I'm healing. So this is a stage that starts with intention. It goes through disconnect and discovery. Then the R is for release. The E is for expand and embody. The A is for aim and anchor. And M is for measure and manifest. So you take that time to really understand yourself and gain greater clarity on exactly what you want. And that may take years. Some people, it takes lifetimes for them to reach that point, to finally understand where they're at, to break out of that cycle, and then step into a new version of themselves, to step on that bridge and begin that process of healing through intention and then ending in manifestation of exactly what and who they are. This ends in the prosperity cycle. And Draymond touched on this earlier. That's how I know we're on alignment. That's how I know truth is truth. No matter what you do, the truth is absolute. You're going to find it through your experiences. Breaking it down, analyzing, understanding, and then letting go. So it ends in, I like to call awareness, acceptance, and action. Being aware of your truth, being aware of who you are, being aware of exactly what you want, accepting that as already being yours, and then taking the next aligned action. And this is centered in not the dominant frequency, the dominant mindset of not being enough, but understanding that you are enough. Understanding that you are worthy, because there's an energy that emanates from you where you feel that you are able to achieve what you want to achieve, because you know deep and down it's aligned with your highest and greatest intent, because you've done the work. You've done the work. You've been through the process. You allow the tears to roll down your cheeks. You were screaming and you angered. You had those tough conversations with yourself and other people. You let go. There's no skipping steps. You want to skip steps because you want to, again, be and avoid pain. But sometimes you have to embrace that pain in order to receive that long-term benefits of pleasure. And the pleasure is in knowing who you are. The pleasure is in knowing that you are worthy of everything that you desire in your life, especially when those desires are in alignment with the highest intent. So it takes time. And knowing that power is so beneficial to walk in this path with greater ease and greater peace. Being able to be in situations that are chaotic, but still being centered in your truth. It creates a space of safety within you, knowing that wherever I am, God is. And God is good. Nothing can stop me. It makes you unstoppable. It makes you unbreakable, unshakable, invincible, because you're filled with that power of courage that can never break you. So I went through the process. There's crises in your life that allows you to see this cycle more with greater clarity. Because in the middle, it's kind of hard to see. You're just living your life. It's only when you hit rock bottom or you're really at the top that you're able to see, okay, you know, this is what's happening behind the scenes. And then from there, it gives you a choice to see what path do I want to take going forward. Do I want to continue these patterns or do I want to change? It sets the intention of the path you want to walk going forward. So like I said, I did have a presentation. I did have, I had pictures of me when I was 15, 16, and right on there, pictures of me right now. From shame to shine, I rise, and shame to shine, I climb into a new version of me, knowing that I am a reflection of the divine. There's no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as perfection. And imperfection is the perfection. Accepting your differences. This world wasn't meant to be perfect, but yet we feel that we have to. Why? Ask yourself that question. Knowing that you are enough just as you are made in the image. The image is perfect. Accepting your flaws is the hardest part of this path. But once you're able to deeply understand and know that, it's liberating. Stay activated. Thank you.
Leave it up there. Because I'm thinking like from that shame to shine, and you're talking about activate your power. All of our speakers tonight talked about from that moment of intention to that moment of action. And I'm not sure if you did this all on purpose, but do you notice what everything started with? It says peace. And I'm thinking about power, and power is that movement towards something. So you hold the intention, you're moving toward it as you're taking action. Power. You like that vision that could, so let's get power. And as you're standing into that, you're owning it and you're activating all of it, right? And you're shining. You're moving from all of this crap to rising above it all and knowing that this is good and perfectly perfect. Thank you. All of our speakers share that story in their own words tonight. The power of power. The power, we all made our I am statements, our affirmations of what is power. Take that with you. Take that forward. Really stand in it. And you know what? Let it evolve. Let it evolve into what is you. Imperfectly perfect, and let it shine. Rise above all of it, knowing it is good. I invite you back next month. We are talking about imagination as our next power. So that'll be a lot of fun. We also have something going on here every Wednesday night. Next week is our open mic night, so that'll be some fun. But if you really want to dive into the powers, it's your first and second Wednesday. First Wednesdays, we have a conversation about the spiritual definition of how we look at whatever that power is we're looking at the month. And I call it like an open table kind of talk, because you know what? I don't have it all. We have it together because it takes us all. We're a tribe, right? We're a spiritual community. And so we all bring forth wisdom to share. And then of course, our second Wednesdays of Activate Your Power Now. So And actually, I think everybody had a moment of that activation tonight and they were feeling it and it was synergizing. So I suspect by the end of the year, almost everyone in this room is going to be coming and talking to Izzy or James and getting themselves on the docket. So have a beautiful evening and enjoy your month. Thank you.
Yes.